Hey guys, it's me Seren back with another video. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Um, Before I start my video, I want to let you guys know that I made an Instagram account for this page because a lot of people were asking me for an Instagram, and so I just decided to make an Instagram account for this page where I'm going to be posting probably like video clips and maybe even like things that don't make it onto the YouTube channel and interesting things that I see and Tumblr conversations and memes and all types of good shit that's related to this channel. So it's the same thing. It's at sensei_ashimasu on Instagram. I'll be posting a link in the description box so you guys can feel free to go follow if you want. Also, I'm almost at 1,000 followers or subscribers, whatever. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been subscribing at a really crazy rate. And I had said that when I hit 1,000 subscribers, about to say followers again, I wanted to do a giveaway. I don't really know how giveaways work on YouTube. I have some ideas in mind, but if you guys have any ideas, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. But you guys, you early subscribers, whatever, are really, really important to me because you guys have kind of been riding with me for the last 6 months, and I really want to do something cool. So let me know what you guys think about giveaways and shit like that. So moving on into my video. This video is going to be about sexism and misogynoir. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Misogynoir. It's that place where kind of race and gender intersect. Misogyny, and specifically against black people and black women. And I don't think I've ever heard it said out loud. So if I'm saying it wrong, please excuse me. But this video is going to be about some sexism and some misogynoir stuff, specifically revolving around Azealia Banks. Now, as I'm sure you guys have all heard at this point, over the weekend, Azealia Banks and Lupe Fiasco got into it on Twitter over Kendrick Lamar and his, controversial statements or whatever, which I've already covered in a couple videos now. And Kid Cudi was also involved. And a lot of the reports that I'm reading and the videos that I'm watching and the blog posts and shit like that, very few of them are mentioning Kid Cudi's involvement or even discussing the fact that Kid Cudi and Lupe Fiasco had their own, little beef, their little tit for tat. Everything that I'm seeing is really focusing on Azealia Banks and Azealia Banks this and Azealia Banks that. Cudi's involvement has been almost entirely overlooked while Banks' has been blown up. And while I'm reading about this stuff, I keep asking myself, well, why is that, is this sexism? Is this, misogynistic? Is this, misogynoir? What's really going on? And I understand that there's a certain amount of clickbait that at this point is attached to Azealia Banks' name, and, everybody knows this. If you put her name at this point, people are gonna click on your shit and read it. But at the same time, I find it really, really interesting the way people love to focus on Azealia Banks and what Azealia Banks is saying and doing, and not, typically she's gotten into it with quite a few men at this point, and I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook the things that the men say to her, and they kind of frame this rhetoric and create this narrative around Azealia Banks being, crazy or, whatever. So what happened over the weekend was, Kendrick Lamar, he made his comments to Billboard, which I talked about or whatever. And a lot of rappers and other people on the internet have decided, they want to weigh in, whether they agree, whether they disagree. Lupe Fiasco, who's kind of gone off the deep end, he's decided that he's Kendrick Lamar's fucking Captain Save-A-Ho fucking butt boy or some shit. I don't know why Lupe has decided that, every time someone fucking comes for Kendrick Lamar, Lupe is gonna fucking put his cape on and defend this nigga. Kendrick is clearly a non-confrontational dude, and he doesn't need you to fight his battles for him. He said what he said, and that's it. I don't know why Lupe has decided he's gonna come for everybody talking shit, but apparently he's decided he's gonna come for everybody talking shit about Kendrick. So, Kid Cudi, I want to say Kid Cudi even tweeted first. And I have the tweets right here. Kid Cudi said, "Dear black artists, don't talk down on the black community like you are God's gift to niggas everywhere. They only have one. See, like, what I'm looking at right now, I'm on the Billboard website, and they only have one of Kid Cudi's tweets here. And I know for a fact that Kid Cudi, like, I've seen them in other places, Kid Cudi put a whole series of tweets. Like, someone posted them on Tumblr, which is how I saw them, but then it's like trying to find them on the internet, you can only find like, oh, snippets here and there. But he basically said, he said this one, "Dear black artists, don't talk down on the black community like you're God's gift to niggas everywhere." And then he put some other stuff about like, don't talk about black people needing to respect themselves. Like, you don't get to talk for the black community as a whole, as a race. Like, you're not the spokesperson for the black community. You know, like, speak for yourself. And, you know, just, he said a whole bunch of really interesting things. A lot of things that I've been saying and a lot of people have been saying about respectability politics. And you've hardly seen that covered anywhere. And then Lupe Fiasco came out of nowhere and jumped in. He added Kid Cudi and was like, fuck you. How about you stop shitting on the people who really cared about your well-being when this biz was ripping you apart, fake ass, at Kid Cudi. He's talking about something personal that happened between him, Lupe, and Cudi, like last year or earlier in the year. They had a little argument. So he's kind of jumped in and came for fucking Kid Cudi. And Kid Cudi and Lupe ended up getting into this big ass argument with this back and forth. Fuck you, nigga, you fake, you this, you that. Kid Cudi called him Poupe Fiasco, which was hilarious. And he called him a dweeb and this and that. And then he ended it by saying, you know, anything I said came from a place of love except for fucking Poupe Fiasco. Like, fuck him. Like, fuck that nigga. You know, some shit like that. And then Azealia Banks tweeted after that, you know, what Kendrick Lamar said was like the dumbest shit I ever heard. Like, he completely glossed over, you know, all the institutionalized racism and all the larger things that kind of put black people in the position that they're in this country, which is true. Kendrick gave a very oversimplified statement that didn't really take into account all the different components of the issue. And Lupe Fiasco decided he wanted to tear into Azealia Banks. Again, nobody's adding Lupe Fiasco. Nobody's hitting him up. People are on Twitter doing what people do on Twitter, which is expressing themselves and expressing their thoughts. And Lupe and Azealia Banks ended up getting into this thing and this back and forth, which, of course, got blown up and covered by the media. My thing is, Lupe is fucking nuts himself. Like, he picks fights with people every day, all day. He's a troll. He sits on Twitter and fucking trolls people and picks fights and gets into beef. And he's, you know, he came after Cudi. He came after Azealia Banks. These are people that are sitting on their own timelines expressing their opinions, which is the whole point of Twitter. And Lupe is starting problems with them. In the Kid Cudi situation, we kind of got this, you know, blah, ho-hum reporting where it just said like, oh, people got into a beef, whatever. With the Azealia Banks situation, we really got this Azealia Banks at it again, ripping into Lupe Fiasco and this and that and that. And like I said before, I know that a bit of this is clickbait, but at this point, I think it's deeper than that. I feel like the criticism of Azealia Banks has a decidedly sexist and racist undercurrent. And a lot of the terms that I'm seeing used are phrases that you hardly ever see leveraged at males and at black males specifically, you know? Lupe came at her. Lupe started it. Yeah, I don't see the phrases being used for Lupe, you know, bitter, jealous. Because when was the last time Lupe had a hit? That's something you hear people say all the time about Azealia Banks. Like, oh, Azealia Banks she's bitter, she's jealous, she wants relevance. When was the last time she had a hit? When was the last time Lupe Fiasco had a fucking hit? Like, I love Cudi, but fuck, when was the last time Kid Cudi had a hit? Why are we only using these certain types of phrases when we talk about Banks, but not when we talk about, you know, other male artists that get involved? I haven't heard anyone say when was the last time will.i.am had a hit. When was the last time Nelly had a hit? Nelly's just bitter, jealous, trying to stay relevant. You know, at this point, Azealia Banks, like I said, her name is clickbait, so she's the most relevant character out of all these people. If any of these people attach their names to Azealia Banks, people are going to click on the link and read about it. So I just find it really interesting that she's the one that's catching all this heat. And like I said in my Nicki Minaj video that I made about her Only Lyric video, I feel like black women, you know, black female artists, they exist in this really weird space where they're not allowed to do the things that other women, female artists that may not be black do. And they're also not allowed to do the things that other black people that are men do. You know, it's that classic, you know, conundrum, you know, that a black woman faces. We're not the faces of blackness because we're not men, but we're also not the faces of, you know, womanhood because we're not white or, you know, non-black, you know, things like that. So I find, and again, like I said, I feel like a lot of the criticism that gets leveraged at Azealia Banks, again, has an undercurrent of racist, you know, sexist, just misogynistic, it's a weird tone, and it really rubs me the wrong way. It bothers me, you know. Many people can't even explain why they disagree with her or what they don't like about her without using racist and sexist language. Again, you have terms like bitter. Bitter has really become a word that has a certain, you know, racial association when you're talking about black women, you know, kind of just like thug. Thug has a certain racial connotation when you're talking about black men. And I know I'm going to have my fucking grammar Nazis that are going to like run in the comment section with their Oxford dictionaries like, well, actually, the definition of thug is this. And actually, the definition of bitter is that. But I'm not talking about dictionary definitions, so you can just go ahead and save it. I'm talking about, you know, the connotations within culture. When you say bitter black woman, it conjures up a certain image. And again, a lot of the insults that I hear being slung at Azealia Banks, it doesn't have anything to do with what she actually said. I hear people talking about her hair, her weave, her edges, her dark skin, things that literally have nothing to do with what she said. Oh, you're just jealous because of this, because of that. Race gets brought into it. You know, and it's like, you can disagree with what she said. You cannot like what she said. You can fucking feel like she's a troll. But none of that should have to do with her being a black woman. Lupe is a fucking troll. He sits on the internet all day and starts problems with people and shit talks. Yet he is not called bitter or jealous or emotional. You know, these are certain words that are clearly leveraged at women, you know. Kid Cudi ripped into fucking Lupe Fiasco, but he's hardly even receiving any press for it. And the press that he is getting is really painting him in this like certain, you know, manner and certain light. And it's just really weird to me, you know, and people are going to say like, oh, well, Azealia Banks starts beef with people. And it's like, okay, but like, so does 50 Cent. 50 Cent sits on Instagram and starts beefs with everybody. And I hardly see anyone ever calling him emotional. Or, you know, they just say like, oh, he's a troll, haha. He said Floyd Mayweather can't read, ha ha ha, yuck, 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 keep teasing kikis, you know, as Caddy Black would say. And it's just like, not upsetting, but I feel like this is something that I've seen a lot, you know. It's regular, you know, and I've even had it directed towards me. I left a comment on some video on YouTube. Someone didn't like what I put. They put calm down black bitch or bitter bitch or something like that. What? Like, you don't like what I said. Why do I need to be told to calm down? Would you tell a man to calm down? Like, oh, calm down, bro. Like, calm down, bitter bro. Like, you never hear that type of thing. This is like language that's specifically directed towards black women, and especially black women, you know, within the rap hip hop community and within our culture. There's this disdain and this distaste for black women creating art and expressing themselves in the same way as black men. And I feel like Azealia Banks, in the way that she expresses herself, I don't know if it scares people or it just like, you know, it rubs in the wrong way as being, you know, inappropriate. This is not how women and black women are supposed to act. We're supposed to be quiet, keep it cute, keep it classy, calm. And when you don't do that, all of these racist and sexist undercurrents kind of bubble up and come to the forefront. You know, the only black males that I've heard be called emotional or things like that would be like Kanye or Drake. And people always use those type of feminine, you know, colloquialisms when they're talking about Drake to say that he's emotional and this and that. So it's just really interesting to me to see, you know, as these types of things develop, again, just the undercurrent of like racism and sexism. It's really interesting. And I feel like when you guys read stuff about Azealia Banks, you know, try and pay attention to the language that's being used. Try to pay attention to what's really being brought to the forefront. You know, are they actually even focusing on what she said? Because I read her tweets and I didn't think she said anything out of pocket. Like, I liked a lot of what she said. She's, she said a lot of really real things that I agree with about what Kendrick Lamar said. And then, she kind of went off in a tangent and started talking about how we're not educated in our communities and how it goes back to slavery days. And she started talking about religion. I thought she was talking about a ton of really interesting things. I don't have Twitter, so I don't follow her, but I do follow her on Instagram. And she posts a lot of things that I find are really cool and honest and thought-provoking and refreshing. And I guess that's also our culture that we're in right now, our collective culture. We've kind of entered into this phase where lack of empathy and lack of emotion and not caring about shit is kind of seen as cool and kind of seen as the norm. So when you have someone that does actually care and does actually feel things, and wants to express themselves and be honest, it's almost like, whoa, this person is like crazy. They're like going against the mold, they're doing this, they're doing that. And there's a pushback, which I find to be really, really interesting as well. But Lupe Fiasco is the one that fucking started the shit. He fucking is jumping in and out of niggas' timelines talking shit, yet I haven't seen not one single article refer to him as instigator, bitter, jealous, searching for relevancy. Like, everything is focusing on Azealia Banks and bringing this, again, undercurrent of her gender and her race into the conversation. And I feel like that's really, really interesting. I'll post some links so you guys can read them and see if you feel that way for yourself. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Just some thoughts that I had about it. A little quick video. I'm going to do a video about the NAACP bombing that occurred last week. I know some of you have been wanting me to make a video on that. And I'm also going to talk in that video about white terrorism and concepts of white terrorism and white domestic terrorism. I'm probably going to see the movie Selma tomorrow, so a Selma movie review or reaction video is also probably going to be coming soon this week. So you guys can look forward to that. Check out the new Instagram page. Happy Monday, new week. Read this shit about Azealia Banks. I feel like this is one of those type of things that once you notice it like can't be undone. And then you'd be like, man, every article I read, they do call her a bitter black bitch. Like, why is that? So check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Food for thought as always. Peace.